Australia, the huge continent with barely any people there. Something funny about the country I live in is that even though it is so huge, I find that people often forget it exists. Randomly will pop up in the news or pop culture, but we'll have years that no one talks about Australia, no one at all. I found a subreddit showing off Australian memes and I thought, why not go and take a look at it? Let's see what these guys have to share. And as an Australian myself, I can judge if this is funny or not, or accurate. The I'm an American and here's all I know about Australian culture starter pack. Well, you put a lot of good ones in there. That's all the important ones at least. Especially Bluey. A lot of people like that recently. Australian schools. Transportables. Is this a classroom? These things are the worst. Schools will bring them out when there's way too many students and they need more classrooms. And then they start putting them in on the oval and you can't even use the oval anymore because they need space for classrooms. Build bigger rooms. POV, you're a driver in Australia that makes a mistake. Oh dear, oh dear, gorgeous. You donkey. Driving in Australia is a lot different to America. You start off with a learner's plate that you have to do 100 hours of driving in, and then you have your P plates, which are 2 levels, and that's like 3 to 4 years. And then after that, you get your open license, where you don't have to display any of those plates. I am now licensed! You're supposed to display them to show that you're learning, right? You're not a full expert at driving, but if you see another P-plater or another L-plater, it's a war zone out there, I'll tell you that. If I had $1 for every time a non-Aussie attempts an Aussie accent and fails, it's really bad, especially when they try and do an Australian accent and it's very clearly just British. Australians are tough. We're not afraid of anything. I genuinely forgot about this, but Australians were terrified of eating strawberries for a couple of years because people would put needles in them in groceries, so you were heavily encouraged to cut strawberries open and not bite into them. That was terrifying. Why did they do that? What kind of Australian are you? Has no taste buds? Perfect human? Probably a serial killer? Vegemite is delicious. Everyone needs to give it a chance, but if you've never had it, please put butter on it and have a light scrape. Like this middle one is perfect. The 4 horsemen of why won't you work properly? Printers? Whippersnippers? Yes, we call them that. Don't laugh at me, please. Tape guns and self-service machines. I'm so glad I was taught to play the recorder at school. It has really come in handy during my adult life. I've lost count of the times I've resolved a difficult situation with a quick blast of 3 blind mice. I love how everyone learnt how to do this in Australian schools, and everyone was bad at it. There's like, 6 holes? Why could we never wrap our heads around it? A reminder that life really is worth living. Oh my gosh. You got 2 bubblegum balls and a bubble-o pill? That was a tongue twister. Internet reliability in Australia. Has access to a reliable internet service. Nowhere. Binfluencer. The person on your street who always puts their wheelie bins out first on bin day and the rest of the neighbors follow. There's always one of them. You carry the entire neighborhood. Where does your self-control issues with substances stem from? Me as a child. I love Milo so much. Me minding my own business walking down the street, and I took that personally. Pro tip. If you're walking in an Australian neighborhood and you see a printed piece of paper that's laminated, it's always laminated, that says magpie area, be careful of swooping, you better listen. Otherwise you're gonna get your ears clipped. It's terrifying. Americans, we need guns to defend ourselves. Australia, Melbourne man fights off carjacker with Nescafe Blend 43 jar. I don't doubt that. Those things are tough. Your venom only needs to be strong enough to kill your prey, not kill a herd of elephants. If Australian animals could read, they'd be very upset. There's something so nostalgic about walking on an Australian beach, seeing a bunch of blue little spots in the sand, and knowing that if you stepped on it, you're gonna have the most stinging pain of your life. That's what Australia means to me. Stocking up for summer in Australia. Zooper Doopers. They're not icy poles, they're not popsicles, they're Zooper Doopers. And they are the best thing ever. When you're 12 but still want to crack a cold one, Bundaberg ginger beer. I remember being 6, seeing my dad drinking one of these. He handed one to me, and I thought I was the coolest kid on school drinking beer. Favorite artists, announcers world tour, not coming to Australia. The only people who do come here is like Harry Styles or Taylor Swift. And if you want to get tickets to those, be prepared to spend $1,000. Which side are you on? Andy Griffith's children books or Paul Jennings' children books? I was an Andy Griffiths kid. I'm convinced you could still read any of his books now as an adult and still find it funny. I will stand by that. PETA has honoured an Australian woman with the Hero to Animals Award after she rescued and rehabilitated a huntsman spider that was severely injured and had lost 6 legs. She nursed it and fed it water and small cockroaches. After a month of care, the spider regrew all 6 legs and is getting stronger every day. Wait a minute, getting stronger every day? I didn't know spiders could regrow legs, that's terrifying. Fairy bread. Look at that beauty. These are popular at children's parties, but also everywhere else because there is no age limit for fairy bread. Screw you, society, and your standards. It's just bread slathered in butter, no margarine, and a ton of hundreds and thousands sprinkles. Honestly, you just gotta try it and see if you like it. I know it looks disgusting, but it really isn't as bad as it looks, trust me. Level teaspoon, heap teaspoon,
Milo teaspoon.
There is no other way. The pupil of your eye can expand as much as 55% while looking at something you love. Chocolate mud cake. If you don't know what this is, it's a Woolworths mud cake. You can buy them packaged and they are delicious. But I think the white chocolate one is even better. Who else made Vegemite worms with their crackers? I feel so stupid because Australians' only favorite food is just stuff they grew up with as a child. It really does look and sound disgusting, but it's good. Russia invades Ukraine. China sends aircraft to Taiwan. The emus? Well, actually, they were there first, so it's more so humans that invaded Australia, specifically the British. It's a funny story. Gotta love Australia. We have 5 colours that we love using on everything. They're always neon. Christmas beetles. Something in Australia that doesn't want to kill you. I've never seen one this pretty. That's beautiful. But yeah, there's these beetles that only show up around Christmas time, and they're kind of cute. They'll fly on you. Aussie road trip starter pack. How you feel on the 4th hour? Random big thing. Cafe in the middle of nowhere with chips for $5. Driver reviver with coffee. It is closed, always. Endless dry farms. Beautiful landscape. The random big thing out of nowhere is so true. Why do we just have random big things everywhere? There's a lot of them. Do you ever just give up and use 4G in your own house? A very Australian story. Yeah, very Australian, except when your house doesn't even have good data reception. So if you have bad internet, tough luck. Australians resisting the urge to add mate in every comment on posts about Australia to let everyone know they're Australian. We Australians don't have much to claim, okay? Primary school kids have iPhones. Man, when I was their age, I used to spread PVA glue on my hands, wait for it to dry and peel it off. I used to get like little sewing needles and pierce them through the extra skin on my finger, just because I was so bored. It's time to pay your rego. Why do I have to pay for something I own? Australians are just British Texans. Changed my mind. Yeah, or British Floridians. It's like an in-between of both of those. Europe. Drives 16 hours, passes through 5 countries. Australia. Drives 16 hours, still in Queensland. I feel like you could shrink Australia by a lot and not much would change. Just less driving, you know? You know you're Australian when the TV you watched as a kid still gives you nightmares. I know this is British, technically, but it came on as a kid when I was a child in Australia, so I'm gonna count it. Why did this TV show exist? The Numberjacks. It was terrifying. Literally every character is terrifying in this. Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture. Now, I don't like Dr. Pepper because I hate the taste of artificial cherries. I know, I sound stupid, but it's true, I don't like it. But I know Americans love it so much. So is that like a nostalgia thing? Did you guys grow up with Dr. Pepper? Sort of like a Vegemite thing? The world is a cruel and unjust place. There is no harmony in the universe. The only constant is suffering. Minutes later, oh my god! gosh, double coat Tim Tams. These are better than the normal ones. There's no such thing as Australian cuisine. Try again, buddy. Specifically Golden Gay Times. These are amazing. Yes, that's the name. A true Australian tragedy. And it's so hard to get them back in without ruining the whole. Don't make me say that again. Australian child walking to school in 1937. Colorized. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I think those Australian memes are pretty good, they're pretty accurate, but I just want to know why they're using extremely outdated memes? There really aren't that many of us, are there? Come on guys, we gotta step up. Have some respect for our culture.